In this video, I will be covering some advanced sewing techniques. To begin with, I will review the concept of one to multiple sewing, which we have done previously using segment sewing and free sewing. Then we'll move into multiples to any variable, which is referred to as M to N sewing, and we can do that both with segment sewing and with free sewing. The thing I want you to note in this file, which is titled 1 to M and M to N sewing, my version here has a bunch of pluses between them. The one that you'll pull off the Google Drive does not. But what I want you to note here is that some of these pieces are already sewn together. Okay, the body, of course, is. You'll see if you look closely that the arms have not been attached and neither has the waistband. Okay. This has also been purposely produced without symmetric sewing. So we will be doing the left and right waistband separate, the left and right arm separately. Okay, and they've all been set up very specifically so we can run through different sewing techniques. Now, to begin with, I'm going to go ahead and just reduce the size of my 3D window so I can see my pattern pieces. And what I want to start off with is one to multiple using segment sewing. And so I'll again make sure I'm on segment sewing, and I'll go ahead and show you where your M to N segment sewing is. Okay, your free sewing, of course, is listed below it, and you'll see M to N sewing or M to M free sewing is hidden behind that as well. Okay, so once again, I'm on segment sewing, and I want to start with this left waistband. Again, you always need to pay attention to direction, and in this case, I'm going to start with the left side. So I'll click to drop that, and I'm going to connect it to multiples. And remember, when you connect to multiples, you need to hold Shift when you're using your regular segment sewing or your regular free sewing tool. So holding Shift, I'm going to click, making sure that I put my tick marks on the left side, and that I'm also thinking about the order in which this would be sewn together. Okay, again, I'm going left to right, or back to front, I should say. So I'm going to go to back piece as I move forward and forward. You'll see I know that I've done this correctly. My tick marks are all on the left, and then you can see my stitches are not crossing in any way. If I undo this and do it again, okay, I'm going to purposefully do this incorrectly. Again, I'm going to hold Shift. I'm going to cross these in a couple ways. I'm going in the wrong order. You can see very, very clearly this looks wrong here. And if I just come around and look at the back, and I'll hide my avatar for a moment. If I zoom and look in here, okay, you can actually see threads crossing all over the place. If I come in and look through the bottom, this clearly looks incorrect. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and step back and undo that sewing. I'm going to bring my avatar back, whoops, and I will hit 2 so I'm not looking at her from an unfortunate angle. All right, so again, I'm going to do it one more time correctly. Again, using my segment tool, I'm going to click starting on the left. I'm going to hold Shift and click, 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 and click, okay? And again, for anyone who is not familiar with pattern pieces and is at all confused, again, these two pieces are making up the back. This is a sleeve. These two pieces are making up the front. Okay, so that's why I'm skipping that piece entirely. All right, and if I come back around, you can see the stitches look much more appropriate. They look like they're attaching the back to the waistband. Okay, so again, that was one to multiple using segment sewing. What I'm going to do now is move to free sewing. And again, I'm going to concentrate on one to multiple. And so I'm going to zoom into my sleeve cap. And this is going to be my 1. So I'm going to click and click to end that. And then holding Shift, I'm going to click and click and click all the way around, okay? Again, being very conscientious of direction and order in which these pieces would be attached, okay? Again, I'm going to come over and take a peek, make sure that I haven't twisted anything. These all look like they are going straight across, okay? I'm pleased, and I'm going to go ahead and call my left side complete. And again, this was one to multiple. And the difference here is as I connect my one to multiple using my basic segment or my basic free sewing tool, I had to hold shift to do so. Okay. I'm going to pan over to my left side. Okay. And you're going to see, not my left side, my right side. And you're going to see that this looks a little different. Okay. The waistband is a little more complicated. It's been cut into 2 pieces. The sleeve looks more complicated. It's been cut into 3 pieces. But essentially the makeup of it is the same. Okay. And it's going to be attached in the same manner. However, I'm going to use a different tool. Okay, you'll note if you pay attention to these pieces, this is a simple segment, these are simple segments. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to go to my segment sewing tool and I'm going to choose multiple to N. Okay? And to do this, I can simply click, but I have to hit enter after I choose my first multiples, and then I have to hit enter after I select my second set of multiples. Okay, so I'm going to click and then hit enter to establish, and then you'll see select a segment to begin. My N sewing is following my cursor around, so I'm going to click and then hit enter. Okay, and you'll see as you do that there is text following me around. You'll actually see press enter to complete N sewing, so it's helping me out. Now again, I'm paying very close attention to where I place my tick marks. So here I've started on my left, so I've made sure that all my tick marks are on the left side of my pattern pieces. And then I've made sure to order this in the order of operation. So if this is my front, I need to start with my front, go towards the middle to my back. Okay? And again, I can come over, take a peek at this, and make sure that looks correct. And yes, you see the stitches or the threads are moving vertically as I would expect. Okay? Next, I'm going to use my free sewing, my M to N free sewing tool. Okay? And again, in this instance, I have multiple pieces. So this is 1, 2, and 3. And this is going to be connecting to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the same technique is going to be used here. I'm going to click, and then I need to hit enter when I get to the end to set my first M pieces, and then I will go and do the second set and hit enter again to establish my N pieces. Okay, so again, I'm using free sewing. I'm going to come over and click, okay, just as I would if I was regular free sewing. But when I get to the end of that third piece, I'm going to hit enter, and you'll see again my cursor says click on a point or segment to begin my N free sewing. So I'm going to click and click. Again, being conscious of the order of operation. And I'm going to click through here. And when I'm done, I'm going to hit enter. And you'll see again, my cursor says press enter to complete N sewing. I will hit enter to do so. And again, I can come over here and I'll go ahead and increase the size of my 3D window at this point. And you'll see I don't see any stitches crossing. They look like they are all straight. My threads look clean. I'll go ahead and hit my 2 key. And at this point, I'll go ahead and simulate so we can get a sense of whether I have committed any egregious errors. Okay, so far from the front, this looks good. Everything looks clean. I'll go ahead and twist around. I'll zoom in a little bit. And come up and take a peek. Okay, and it looks like everything has been sewn correctly. Okay. Now, before I exit this video, I just want to prompt you again. The difference between 1 to M, okay, is the use of shift. I had to hold my shift key over on this left side. So again, whether it was segment, where I selected this as my 1, and then as I did my multiples, I held shift as I clicked. Okay, whether I used free sewing and designated that as my 1, and then held shift as I selected my multiples. Okay, 1 to M using my regular tools. Okay, again, regular being segment sewing, regular being my free sewing. Okay, I have to hold shift. Versus the other side, and I've zoomed in crazy, so I'm going to go ahead and use my parentheses to reset. Remember, close parentheses will basically snap this to fit in your screen. Over here on the right side, remember this is where I used my M to N sewing tools. Okay, and the benefit of using these tools, again, this is multiple to multiple, essentially, just to sum that up as succinctly as possible. And because I'm saying that, the difference here is that I need to hit enter to establish my M, and I need to hit enter to establish my N. And I do not need to hold shift as I do so. Okay. If you found that you had any errors with this as you processed through the two sides of the garment and running through the 4 different tools, please go back to your history. Recall that you can come through here and back up to specific areas that may be troubling you. If you find that you absolutely need to start it all over again, remember you can go all the way back to open and go ahead and practice those skills. We will be using those in the days to come.